Just legendary.
So, Andy, with you shooting, let's go back to the 80s real quick.
Yeah.
Tell me something. What were some of your best shots? And I don't have any here, but tell me some of your best moments of shooting that Boston Laker rivalry.
Oh man, Coop, we all live for that. I mean, to see you guys suited up against the hated Celtics, and I hated the Celtics. I can't say that in any other, even my own podcast, but I hated them too.
I still hate them. You ain't saying that. Go ahead, say as much
right.
as you want
No,
now.
But I was supposed to be somewhat impartial. I was, yes, the Lakers quote unquote team photographer, but I was working for the league, so you got to be impartial.
Yeah.
But man, everything was so different. You go into Boston Garden and it's a dump, and they don't have any air conditioning, and there's rats in the catwalk. Another true story. I got chased by a rat in the catwalk there. The locker
I love that shot, Andy. I love this shot.
Yeah, but the rivalry was just off the chart. I mean, every game, every play, even the regular season games when you guys only played each other twice, and once in the Forum. We all circled that in red, when the calendar came out, the schedule came out in August. It was always like the second Sunday in February that you guys played each other, right, at the Forum. But it was amazing. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to the NBA for trusting me and putting me in the position as a young photographer to document that whole era. But also to Pat Riley for having a lot of confidence in me to be around the team, and to Gary Vitti, who ultimately was the gatekeeper, as you know. I mean, Gary's locker room, Gary's training room, if he didn't allow me in there, I would have been on the outside looking in. So I'll always be grateful to Gary. And then just the storylines, the guy behind you, Kareem against Parrish, of course, Magic against Bird. But you and your defensive, if they didn't have you, they wouldn't have won any titles in 85 or 87 because and everybody knew that, and everybody had their role. And Pat, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but Pat really, that was his skill. He knew what each of you brought to the table. Yep. He got you guys to buy in on the team concept. And it wasn't like leave your egos at the door. It was like bring your egos in, but put them together in this big bowl because we're going to kick some ass. Yeah. Right?
Next one is the Lakers at that year. What was this? The late 90s, 2000s, mm-hmm. Lakers versus the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy series because all of a sudden you had Vlade on the other side, right? And Sacramento was insane place to play, I'm sure, but for me to work, it was a glorified like high school gym. I mean, the place was horrible. It was terrible. Remember that they built an Arco Arena. First of all, the Kings moved from Kansas City to Sacramento. They built this arena, which was like a warehouse, right, in the middle of the cornfield.
Middle of nowhere, man.
Right. So then they decide, 10 years in, you know what, this place isn't so great. We're going to build another one. They built one that was worse. I mean, the second Arco Arena was worse than the first one. It was right next door. Didn't make any sense. But I remember Phil Jackson, there was no coach's office, and he would have to go underneath the stands, through this little trap door, so he could get a couple of minutes to himself. There was no training room. What a dump that was. But the rivalry was great, right? It really was. And I think Shaq calling them the Queens, right?
Love that. I love that.
Yeah, that was a great era. I mean, Chris Webber. I mean, who else was on that team, man? They had Bobby Hurley in those days. Doug Christie. Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good run. So now let's move to
Mike
2000
Bibby.
When the Lakers and the Celtics come back all the way around with Paul Pierce and Garnett and players like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt like, I was reliving history in a way because the rivalry never died. I mean, the last time the teams played each other was 87, but the rivalry was always there, of course. And, Kobe was, had a lot on his shoulders. I mean, yeah, this picture, 2008, this is 2009 finals, and he knew that he was carrying the team. You know, Shaq had left. A lot had been written about him. Even his own coach wrote about him, about being uncoachable. And there was a lot riding on it. He was not particularly healthy that season, as you remember. And, but he took the team on his back and was committed in 2008. This is 2008, you know, to beat the Celtics. They didn't beat the Celtics. It was tragic. It reminded me a little bit, Coop, of '84, where they could have beaten them, but they didn't. They just didn't have enough. And the Celtics had the big three, and they seemed to be sort of destined to win that final. But I remember after that, Kobe talked about how he just couldn't retire until he beat the Celtics in the finals. I mean, guy would probably play another 10 years, you know, into his 50s. And then they got the shot in 2010, and he was true to his word. You know, he went out and they got it done, and that was you know, his 5th title.